Welcome to Thoughts from the Roundtable. My name's Jacob.
And my name's Pierce, and we will be your hosts on this latest adventure.
When gauging prospective audience reception, our roommate said, "There's nothing else I would least rather do." I don't really know what that means, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, and as that first one kind of was a little bit rocky, what did he really mean by least rather do? I went ahead and called my mom, and she just said, "Yikes, are you sure?"
So, without further ado, please take a seat at the round table. Today, we're going to talk about Birds of Prey.
It's that movie that, no one really wants to see, but most likely everyone will see it.
Pierce really didn't want to go at first, but I said...
I didn't. I wanted no part of that experience.
I said, come on, let's go. It can't be worse than, Suicide Squad.
It was. It was way worse than Suicide Squad. It was really, 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 really bad.
But Pierce can't even get mad because he went and saw Dora and paid cash money for it. This one we at least
That's not entirely true. I paid with a debit card. That's not cash.
That's so stupid. Anyway, he had to go to this movie with me. I didn't really want to see it exactly, but I've always liked DC a lot. For Batman, pretty much. I was like, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot.
Wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the shot. It was really bad.
It was not good. And here's my main complaint. They tried to be like a Deadpool type movie, and it was supposed to be funny and violent, and she was supposed to be you don't really like her, but you also do. And every character was unlikable.
There really wasn't any character in there that stands out as man, I really liked watching there. Besides maybe Ewan McGregor's character, he played Black Mask. I don't really know any of the comic background for Black Mask, but he was crazy. And he actually in certain scenes. Now, mind my words here. Certain scenes. This was not all of them. But he was pretty decent in some of them. He really brought you in. When he cut that dude's face off, he was crazy. And I really liked that. But that is such a small portion of this movie.
Yeah, he was probably in the movie for a total of 20 minutes.
Maybe.
And
maybe 20 minutes.
Every other part of the movie was almost unbearable to watch.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was kind of like Deadpool, but if when you're watching Deadpool, instead of laughing, you're just sitting there and thinking, wow, this is not good.
It's like Deadpool if you took away the funny parts.
Yeah, exactly like that.
It tried to be funny, way too hard. Whether it was with the scene where the police officer was wearing the "I shaved my balls for this" shirt, because that was unfunny.
It was remarkably unfunny.
And she's a woman, mind you.
Yeah.
I don't know the joke they were going for there, but
I think it's because women do not have testicles.
Oh,
so
that would make sense. But
so that was the whole gag, is I shaved my balls for this, but she's a woman, she doesn't have those.
Yeah, and I also, I understand, like I said, it's a rated R movie, so it's really similar to Deadpool in every way, other than it's not funny at all. Harley Quinn, super unlikable.
She can't really carry a movie, I don't think. I think it's Deadpool, I think, was something special, because he could really, carry an entire movie. And I think that's more just because Ryan Reynolds, you could tell that he was in love with playing the character. I think Margot Robbie, and don't get me wrong, I think she's been great in a lot of movies, but I just don't buy that she is having fun with this character. It's almost like she's trying way too hard to sound like Harley Quinn. You know what I'm saying? Because Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds is just Ryan Reynolds in it almost. It's he's not trying to be Deadpool. She seems like she's trying so hard.
And I just don't see, she doesn't have her character doesn't have the personality that, a character like Deadpool has. Her character, I mean, I understand she really is supposed to be a sidekick.
Yeah.
And that movie, it tried to make her just like Suicide Squad did. It tried to make her the main point. I just don't think she has enough background as a character to carry a story.
No, I don't think she does either. And what a great segue to my main complaint about this movie is the fact that in the title, Birds of Prey, it makes you think, oh, I'm going to watch kind of a team-up movie. Except for the team only formed at the very end, and we got none of it. It was literally just Harley Quinn the whole time. and with like a little bit of like spiced in bits of other characters, and it did not work. It's like when you watch the Avengers, okay, and you're thinking, oh wow, like the first Avengers, not the second one. The whole movie is showing how they don't really mend well together as a team. They're constantly fighting, they're constantly trying to figure out how this is going to work. And then at the end, when they finally figure out like their differences and how to fight together, it's really satisfying. And it's like, wow, and then the music starts playing, you're like, this is it. This is a team up movie. So imagine like all of that, except you just get a movie about Iron Man. And at the very end, the main Avengers fight plays out. That's what this movie was.
It's like, I don't know what DC's deal with team-up movies is, because they're trying to establish these teams like Suicide Squad. I really had the same problem with it.
Yeah.
All of these people, one, you don't care about the characters.
Not at all.
Two, well, how did they have such great chemistry right off the bat?
Yeah, same with Justice League.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. Like, Justice League, they've developed, what, 2 characters?
Maybe.
3? Well, 3.
They got Superman, they've got...
halfway Batman when Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, I'd call him a half.
Yeah, that's why...
Because they kind of just, like, in Batman v Superman, skipped all of Batman's development and just, like, he's kind of already developed. You just kind of gotta imagine it.
Yeah. And then Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman is good.
Yeah. And then the Aquaman came out after Justice League.
And it was like a hit.
Yeah. So...
They really need to realize that when people think, oh, I'm going to watch a DC movie, they think maybe 3 movies. It's Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Superman, or Man of Steel, and they're not team-up movies.
Yeah. And, I think that's part of the problem. We didn't learn anything about any of the characters.
No.
The only one we got a little bit close on was Black Canary. Because there was that scene where the police officer came to her door to ask her for help.
Yeah.
And they talked about how her mom's dead. And that's really all we got.
Yeah. They tried to, like, undo the whole thing with Huntress by showing us little bits of her backstory. But, like, if you just introduce a character and then you show me maybe 2 minutes of backstory and expect me to think, that's a character I care about, you're wrong.
Black Canary was really the only other character I found a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
Because, really, she had a pretty good... There were some good fight scenes with her.
The fighting in this movie, actually pretty okay. Let's get that out of the way. If you take the fight scenes on their own, you can probably enjoy yourself.
Yeah, because those were really good. But Black Canary, like, she has superpowers, and we don't have any idea how she got them.
Yeah.
Why do we care?
Yeah.
And it's not like she's a common character. Like, if they were to do this with Superman, perhaps, I think they might be able to get away with it. But
maybe.
Not with Black Canary, who I didn't know who she was before this movie.
Yeah, and, like, I knew who Black Canary was because I watched The Flash, like, back when The Flash was pretty okay, like, first season or second season. Then I watched it the 3rd season, and yikes. But, that's a different topic. But I knew who she was, but, like, in that, it was very, very well explained how she got her powers. And it still didn't really work.
Yeah, it didn't really work in this movie. And I think that's what all the other characters were that way in the whole group. You have Harley, and we know her backstory.
Kind of.
Well, it kind of drew it out which was really threw off the whole theme of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yuck.
The intro to this movie was a poorly drawn cartoon. Obviously they were trying to do it that way to be funny, but a poorly drawn cartoon of her life, how she was abandoned by her parents, lived with nuns, and then got her PhD, fell in love with Joker, and then you pretty much start the movie.
Yeah, it was like in Deadpool, when they had that random scene where, like, the poorly drawn unicorns were coming on the screen. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. But, like, in the beginning of the movie with zero context and not funny.
And a big problem I really ran into with this movie is the ratings for it. This movie's rated higher than Joker. The movie that was an Oscar nomination. And this movie's a quarter as good.
I wouldn't go that far.
I just don't understand it. And I understand, you can make she's a female argument, but I don't want my children to see Harley Quinn as a role model. She's not a likable character in this. By her actions, not. And at the end of the movie, she goes right back to committing crime.
It's like over the entire movie, she was growing as a character. And I was like, you know what? If nothing else out of this movie, at least there was character development. At least she learned lessons. But then at the end of the movie, they just played that off as a joke. Like, I didn't learn anything. Not funny.
And, all the characters are really that way.
Yeah.
Huntress is the only one who I can make an argument for that, she's, in the end, still kills a bunch of people. But, she said she was going to hang it up. Eventually, they all fight crime together. The cop, unlikable.
The cop is by far the worst character in the movie.
Yeah, she's said to be, this good cop.
She's a bad cop, really bad.
She does deals with prisoners and stuff.
Then she's actually the only one. Her character does develop, but it develops in the wrong way. She goes from being a police officer to being a villain?
Yeah, I guess. Either that or a vigilante at best.
Yeah, I would say they're going for kind of an anti-hero thing with these people, where it's not really like they're villains, they fight crime, but for selfish reasons. And
they're just trying to be like Deadpool. I'm telling this whole movie is like a discount Deadpool.
It is. When I'm telling you, listeners, just watch Deadpool.
Yeah, save your money and buy Deadpool from Amazon Prime.
Pretend Ryan Reynolds is a woman if you have to.
I don't see the draw to this movie at all.
Yeah, and you can tell the studio at this point is getting desperate because it's not performing well monetarily. It's got great reviews for some reason, like you said, but monetarily this thing is struggling.
Yeah, it made $33 million at the box office for opening weekend, which for a superhero movie, it's got to be one of the all-time lows.
It's pretty bad. I read a lot of reviews online where people were saying that their theater was just empty, and for a superhero opening night, yikes.
I mean, we went on a Friday.
Yeah, and
it was at 11:45, which doesn't really help our case, but
11:45 a.m.
There were 4 people there, 5 people.
Yeah, there was one guy who was enjoying himself way too much.
Yeah.
And he made me happy. He was my entertainment for the movie.
Yeah, because this usually, I can sit through movies, especially with recliners. I don't really have a hard time squirming and stuff.
Yeah.
This was rough.
Yeah, I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Not because I was appalled or anything. It was just I was bored. I usually don't have a problem staying off my phone, but I was having a hard time keeping myself from just getting on my phone during this movie. This was hard. This was a hard movie to sit through.
I did not like this at all.
Yeah.
A big problem that I also had with it is that the flashbacks, the whole timeline of the movie for the first hour probably didn't really make any sense to me. Because, it started out and you were living her life for 3 days or whatever, and then it flashed back to where she was hunting people, and then it flashed back again to where Black Canary was saving her, and then it went back to normal time. If you're as confused as I am just by me saying that, welcome to watching this movie.
You really don't understand what's going on during it. And also, let me just comment on something. This movie is the very definition of an exposition dump. It is so incredibly lazy. Usually you'll see film critics give movies a hard time for using narration to open up the movie. Because it's that's lazy,
Right.
They should have developed that through characters. Buckle up, critics, because this movie is all narration. It doesn't stop till the very end.
And even then, in the driving away scene, she narrates it.
Oh, yeah, she does. It just generally just continues.
Yeah.
Through flashbacks, she narrates anything you might not understand. Something, she'll just tell you.
Yeah.
It's they think that I'm some sort of baby child going to this rated R movie and can't understand a simple plot. They really gotta spell it out for you.
Yeah, it's they knew there was going to be plot holes. So they just decided, you know what, let's throw in a narrator in there and maybe make it funny. Deadpool is one of the movies that uses a narrator well.
Yeah, because that's his character, you know? It's
Yeah.
like he is known for the fourth wall breaks, and that works for him. And I think it works better for Deadpool because he acknowledges that he can do it. Like in the movie, he'll look at the camera and be like, you know, so and so just blew up I just blew up a truck. My bones are gone. Yikes! This is really a comic book movie. But like Carly, in the movie, she doesn't know that she can fourth wall break, but she's also like this voice narrating it. It doesn't work.
And that's been our really first thoughts on the movie. So for our next segment, we're going to do the tables.
Now you might be thinking to yourself, the tables. What's that? Let me explain to you. We had this idea that we should do like kind of an awards thing for all the movies we watch, and we wanted a clever name for it. And I was like, we should just call it the tables and be like, you know, it's the tables. It's like the Oscars, but worse. But then I sat through 3.5 hours of the Oscars, like the actual Oscars. So welcome everyone to the tables. It's like the Oscars, but better.
So for our first award, we'll be giving away best scene. I'll just go ahead first. My favorite scene was the prison scene where the sprinklers were going off and she was really, fighting all the prisoners. Really, there wasn't a lot of redeeming scenes for me, so I just went with the one that I thought was the best choreographed. She does, like, if you've seen the trailer, or, hopefully you've seen the movie, but if you've seen the trailer, she does, like, the flip in the trailer, and there's water everywhere. That's from that scene. I think this scene is just super, super well choreographed.
It really is. It's a well done scene.
Yeah, and that's why I really had it for my best scene. I don't know if it adds anything to the story.
But it definitely, I think it does. I think it adds at least a little bit of enjoyability to, like, watching it.
Yeah, it's definitely the best scene. Most enjoyable, for sure.
Yeah, I actually have a different best scene. It's actually when Black Mask cut the face off those people.
Yeah, I see that.
It was kind of that moment where Black Mask was sold as a character for me. And it might just be because I love Ewan McGregor.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? He's just awesome. But he really kills it in that scene. He comes off as a complete and utter madman. And it's great to watch. I was grinning while I was wincing because it was kind of gross, but it was actually good. I was happy with that scene.
Especially with that scene, they like cut the face off the first guy hanging from the bar or whatever it was, and then his henchman has the skin mask in his hand and throws it to the side.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah. I would say that's runner-up for me for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then for our next table, we would like to go with best character. And I'll go first again. It's McGregor's character, Black Mask. I mean, he's really the only one that had a tiny bit of backstory. We knew about his family and how he was kicked out of his company. And a good scene with him where I was like, man, I kind of like this character. Obviously was the part where he told him to cut off the face. But when they were in his room and he had a bunch of masks, and then the Holy Grail was his mask, the Black Mask.
Really, a lot of the scenes with him in it were really good. And that's why, like, he's definitely the best character for me, too. I don't think there's really any argument there. Like, when he was, like, laughing and, like, ordering her to do stuff, it was genuinely, like, really good. I think he actually, like, you could tell that Ewan McGregor was having fun with this character. He was having fun on set. Yeah,
and I really liked the relationship between him and what he called a songbird, which was Black Canary. And, obviously he was possessive of her. And, really also, he's a psychopath. He does what he wants and doesn't feel bad about it.
No.
For our next table, we have best performance. And again, I'm going to choose McGregor. He's the only one who looked like he enjoyed the movie. He was an important part. And he actually, like, when you see interviews with him talking about this movie, he really did enjoy playing this character.
Yeah, no. For sure, that's also my best performance. I'm sorry, like, this is going to be a pretty boring round of the tables, I think, because we're pretty much in line because there wasn't a lot redeeming. So, for McGregor to take it, I mean, it's pretty, like, there's not really competition for him.
Right.
He genuinely did good. He had fun. His energy, it was radiating off the screen. And you could tell any scene that he was in was automatically better.
Yeah. And so, to continue the tables, our worst scene. This one was a pretty easy one for me. There's a scene where there's a policeman knocking on the door to Harley Quinn's tiny little apartment. And she doesn't answer, obviously. Getting ready to leave, there's a man with a rocket launcher, if I remember correctly.
I think you do.
Who explodes the room. You might be thinking, Jacob, explosions are cool. Why wouldn't I like that scene?
I was thinking that exactly.
And to that I say, after the scene explodes and you see them walking away, what happened to the police officer? He didn't die because the door was closed. I don't think the door would have, exploded from the size of the explosion.
Actually showed the door still intact.
He's just gone.
Well, you just kind of forgot after that.
You think, man, the police officer should go investigate, but he's just not
That's
there.
not the job of the police, okay? He saw an explosion. He needs to go the other way.
It has to take it for worse scene. There's no way it doesn't.
Yeah, that is a pretty, horrendous scene. But I think it pales in comparison to the final scene of the movie. We are greeted, the whole gag of the movie, the little girl ate the diamond, and you probably don't understand what I'm referencing, so let me just give a quick backstory. Okay, Ewan McGregor wants Diamond. He sends his henchman to get Diamond. Little girl steals Diamond because she's a pickpocket. Little girl gets arrested, so she just kind of snacks on the diamond, eats it right down, and then, the big joke in the movie is Harley Quinn, she's buying her laxative. She's like, get that thing out of there. But at the end, right, everyone's kind of, eating around a table, and the girl's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Harley, can you help me? And so Harley comes in and, helps her, and then it cuts to the very end, and she's driving away, and it just shows that she really learned nothing and just took the money and ran with it. And I was just so kind of disheartened because the whole movie I was thinking, man, the only thing really redeemable about this is that Harley Quinn is genuinely growing. And then she just kind of threw it away. And then to top it all off, ended it with a little bit of narration, which just cemented that as my least favorite scene in the whole movie. And I was so glad it was over.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I kind of forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. This movie didn't have a lot of redeeming qualities, as we said. So.
No, you could have picked almost any scene for worst scene, and it would have probably been good.
Yeah, I would have been able to hear an argument for it at least.
Yeah.
So we'll continue on to worst character.
Ooh, this is an exciting one.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the same for both of us again. I'm going to go with the cop.
Oh my gosh, no doubt about it.
She's just unlikable personality, right? She's trying to be serious, but they're also trying to paint her as funny in the same way. It just doesn't really work out.
You know, those memes that you used to see, and it was about the Gotham PD and how terrible it was because there's constant crime. This is the prime example of Gotham PD. She literally becomes a criminal.
Yeah, and it's really hard to, like I said before, it's really hard to pull off a serious and funny role, and they failed miserably.
They really, really kicked the bucket on that one. She's just so unlikable, and they tried to pull the funny gag of a lot of stereotypical cop sayings, but she didn't even use really any good cop sayings. When they first brought that gag, I was like, hey, I kind of like cops. Maybe that'll be funny to me. But they didn't even use any of the funny cop words. She's just a normal cop.
Yeah, when they were introducing her, it's she grew up on 80s cop shows. They really didn't, even flash back to that at all. They didn't mention her saying something like that. They didn't mention, a call back to that. Nothing.
Yeah, and I was really expecting her to oh, she grew up on 80s cop shows. She walks in, door opens slowly. Aviators fall onto her head. She's like, let's go bust some perps. I would have really enjoyed that. But they didn't.
Yeah, really a missed opportunity for her character.
Completely, because that was
really
the only thing.
And it really could have been interesting.
It could have been funny too.
Yeah.
Because if they did that right, I probably would have laughed. Maybe.
Let's not get ahead of
I
ourselves.
can't go that far. But like I might have smiled.
Yeah. And so to continue the tables.
I think this might be our last segment.
It is. Worst performance. I'm stuck. And here's why.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give it to the lady who played the cop.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really like her.
I get it.
But I'm thinking about giving it to Margot Robbie.
I was thinking the same thing.
And here's why. She had this opportunity with this character who had just a tiny bit of interest that you gained from Suicide Squad. And they ruined it. They made the movie essentially a breakup movie in the beginning. And then, guess what? That doesn't mean anything anymore. Because they forgot about it, essentially.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's her fault. But, maybe she should have said something. This is a pretty important scene. Because that's, the start of the movie is her breaking up with the Joker. And I don't think they mention it once after 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, no. I was kind of in your same predicament, but I think I have to give it to Margot Robbie, but for kind of a different reason. So, there's usually like, right now, just do a little exercise. Go on your computer, look up any character, and then look up impression after it. And you see someone doing like their best, like, I'm Batman kind of voice, That is what Margot Robbie was. It's like, she took like a character that she was supposed to be. People were supposed to be like making impressions of her. Yeah. It was like she was making an impression, like an overly exaggerated impression on her last performance. It didn't even feel like she was really that character. It just felt like she was trying to like imitate that character, and it didn't work. It felt really cringy at times. You can see it from the trailer. Watch the trailer where there's that scene where she's in the car and she's like tossing the grenade out the side. That seems like a bad Harley Quinn impression. It doesn't seem like that's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I
think, that's a big problem too. I just find this performance like lackluster and all of the Margot Robbie performances. Like, we've seen her in Wolf of Wall Street, and if you saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she's supposed to be good in that. And you see her in these big name movies, and she just fails in a movie like this.
I don't know. It just feels like she could be doing more, and she could be doing better as like the main one in the movie. I think she was better in Suicide Squad than in her own movie.
And that's really impressive for anyone to say that.
Yeah, because Suicide Squad was not good.
Yeah.
It was ugh.
Yeah.
You know what though, for all I will say about Suicide Squad and this whole thing, and I think partially why this movie doesn't work at all, is because Harley Quinn really needs a Joker. I think that dynamic, even in Suicide Squad, and people will make fun of Jared Leto's performance any day of the week. He's a laughingstock among the Joker community.
Who doesn't want to make fun of him, essentially?
Yeah, exactly. He's got the damage tattoo, like he thinks he's XXX Tentacion or something. But, but like, seriously, the only like redeeming like part of that movie was his interaction with Margot Robbie. It was genuinely okay.
And I think there could have been chemistry if they like continued this role and made it, a different universe, obviously, from the newest Joker.
Yeah.
But if they continued this Suicide Squad universe, I think they could have had something, because I think people would have still paid to see Joker and Harley Quinn more than they would have paid to see just Harley Quinn.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like, even if like he was still in the movie and like they still want to do this whole like Harley Quinn breaks up with the Joker, but like, I don't know, mention him more.
Yeah.
Like show him like how he's reacting to the breakup and how she's kind of reacting, and maybe they get into a fight. I don't know, something just to show that like, just to ground the universe that they're in. It doesn't really even feel like they're in Gotham.
No, it doesn't. Because I think, they tried to play that out by they're on a different side from where I think most of the other Batman movies take place. But it just didn't really work out. It didn't make sense. If Gotham's as big as New York City, you can travel across the city.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Because the only mention of anything like Batman, Superman, anything from that universe is her hyena is named Bruce.
From, the sexy Wayne guy.
Yeah.
Which that was good.
Yeah.
That was
kind
good.
of clever.
The hyena, like, little chuckle, that always made me smile. I'm a sucker for hyenas. What can I say?
Yeah. And with that, we'll table this discussion for later.
See what you did there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our first episode of Thoughts from the Round Table. I hope you guys had fun. We sure didn't. This was a hassle to tell you the least. But I think we're good now. I think we're good.
I think we figured everything out. Okay. So, thanks to everyone who made this possible. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.
Make sure that you follow our Twitter. We're going to be doing polls about what movies you want to see, what other topics you might want to get covered.
Please someone vote for Clone Wars Season 7, because I think we're both very interested in that.
Yeah, can you guys please vote for Clone Wars Season 7? It's kind of coming out next week, and
yeah.
we kind of want to cover at least some of it.
Yeah, we really want to watch it.
So
we're going to
watch it anyways. But like, you know, you're going to vote for the Clone Wars.
Don't forget to check out the Campus Citizen.
It's IUPY's only independent news source.
And all of the links that we mentioned will be below.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks.